dice. You never know if it could change your life. Take a chance, you're neither wrong or right. You never know if you don't roll them dice. You better roll them dice. You never
Listen,
know
Matt,
if it could change
I
your
know
life.
that these are uncertain times. These are dangerous times. Everybody is feeling a little bit worried. There's violence in the streets. It's grim. The future is it's uncertain. And there's a lot of hate and disagreement, a lot of attacking people for their identities. And I just want to come out and say I want to be really explicit here about Dungeon Master of None. But no matter what you believe, no matter how you celebrate, you're welcome here. Whether or not you're a Toyotathon enjoyer or a happy Honda Days, even if you're a Lexus December to Remember celebrator, this is a safe place for you, okay? No matter how you purchase your vehicles in Q4 of 2024, this is a place that you can find a home, okay? Dungeon Master of None, we're for all of them.
Yes, it's our annual holiday car buying joke. We're ready to put big bows on things. Lots of people are making big purchases around this time. Of course, the person with the most capital to purchase anything joked about buying Dungeons and Dragons. Of course, we're talking about Elon Monk. He's going to buy Dungeons and Dragons for a Christmas present for us all. I'm sure that will happen.
Thank you, Daddy Musk, for purchasing Hasbro for Wizards of the Coast and saving it from evil woke DEI. I'm not sure who the villain here is. I guess the underpaid designers, whoever's left at Wizards of the Coast.
Actually, it's if you trace, these things work in insane cycles where a bunch of weird people on social media post about it, and then an even weirder person who only posts all day finds it and then does kind of a harebrained summary of whatever insane right-wing discussion they were having. But it seems like our friend of the pod, Jason Tondro, caught some flack because it's his opening essay.
That's right. It was
the
Jason
republished things, which again is 100% correct. He said, "Hey, we love the original D&D. The thing that Arneson and Gygax created is really something special and something new. Also, it's got some problematic stuff. There's one of the original manuals just has a out of nowhere dig at the women's liberation movement. That was pretty shitty. Anyway, here's the original manuals. Enjoy them. We've also collected a bunch of notes that were previously unavailable. So that's where that all came from. It's so insane.
I think the last thing that I saw was some weird blue check guy tweeted this, and then Grums, Mark Kern,
that's right,
of
Grums
of Firefall infamy, who
Firefall, the video game that
the video game
epically failed.
Yes. He was the lead dev or something. He hasn't done anything since. He's pivoted to I think running a Kickstarter where he takes money and then he just tweets all day. Anyway,
I mean, it seems easier.
It is easier. Anyway, Elon is constantly retweeting or paying attention to him for some reason. But they discovered the text in the PHB about I think it was about the X card. Then they read the little check, the little bit about what raising your hands at an X or using an X card if there's something you were uncomfortable with. I'm not going to bother to look it up because it was a week ago, but Daddy Musk was like, what the fuck? And this was already after he had promised to buy Hasbro. But what's funny about this is these guys have clearly not played Dungeons and Dragons or any TTRPG in probably 30 years. They're just mad because of their nostalgia for the game. All this stuff that they're mad about is not new. This has been in Dungeons and Dragons. I saw one really funny reply to Musk's tweet that was like, "This is not the Dungeons and Dragons that I helped playtest 50 years ago." And I'm like, yeah, no shit. It's 5 editions later, dude. Like, it's literally not the same Dungeons and Dragons. What are you talking about?
The one you playtested 50 years ago was barely a game.
Yeah. Like, it is explicitly not that. Like, you're correct. It is not the same game at all by design.
It's no longer rules for fantastical medieval war games.
That's right.
It transformed into a role-playing game. It's very different. Sorry.
Anyway, who knows what will happen? Here's my Dungeon Master of None take is that I don't think Elon Musk is going to do it. He'll get distracted. But if he did, it would be funny. That's my take is that's what would happen.
I think he would run it as well as he runs Twitter, which is
not very well. Oh, that reminds me. Matt and I and Dungeon Master of None are probably not going to be on Twitter a whole lot anymore. We still have an account. I don't know, Matt.
Not that we were a lot.
We weren't a lot previously, but I'm not very active on there personally, and I'm really not checking the account. We are, however, on Blue Sky now. So you can check us out at dmofnone.bsky.social. Just search for us. We also probably won't check that very often, but we will check it more than our Twitter account.
You can follow us and feel good. You're supporting the show if you follow us on Blue Sky. You're not really supporting the show, but it's still a fun thing to do.
It's a nice thing to do. To be clear, me personally, I don't really think there's like a moral dimension to being on Twitter or on Blue Sky. A lot of people seem to think there is. Nothing matters. They don't really. Your presence posting doesn't impact things one way or another. I have quit Twitter because I think it's boring and it sucks now. Not because like I think I'm morally superior because I'm on Blue Sky, but it's nicer there. And there's a lot fewer blue check weirdos talking about eugenics and, so come check us out on Blue Sky.
Speaking of having conversations with us, Rob, today we're answering your letters.
We're answering your letters. Oh, but before we get to our letters, listeners, if you did not know, if you were not aware, this show, are able to do what we do in large part because of the generous contributions of our Patreon listeners. So if you would like to become one of those illustrious, gloried, join their gilded ranks, check us out at patreon.com/Dungeon Master of None. We really appreciate it. There's also a bunch of additional episodes and supplements and goodies that you can check out there. It's pretty cool. So please do that if you like what you're listening to.
Or don't.
Or don't.
You don't have to.
You don't have to. We like it if you do, but you don't have to.
Yeah. On to the letters.
This one comes from Joel. Joel writes, I love what you guys do. You've inspired my pursuit of this fantastic hobby. Thanks to your advice, I've been running a campaign with a group of strangers online that has been going for 4 years now, so I can safely say we are no longer strangers. We have been in one campaign for 4 years with a few breaks for life. While I still enjoy the direction it is going, I am full of ideas for my next campaign.
The perennial problem.
Yes. 4 years is a good run.
The campaign in the next hex, the grass is always greener.
Yeah, 4 years is a good run before you get the itch for a new campaign. Like that's you've put in your time. I got an idea from the Adventure Zone Ethersea campaign, where they started off by playing the Quiet Year world-building TTRPG to create their setting. I know you guys dunked on Travis's campaign, deservedly so, but Griffin's campaign Ethersea was pretty interesting. I also happen to think that Ethersea was better than
Graduation.
Was blanking on it. I think, as we discussed, generally the Adventure Zone is fine, but Graduation, not great. I really enjoyed how they brought the players in on the world-building process. I find one of my problems with making my own game is getting my players invested in the setting. Involving them in the creation of the setting really gets them invested in the minor details and better understanding of the broader topics. Do you have any thoughts on bringing players in on the world-building process? I don't remember if you've talked about the Quiet Year on your podcast, but I was wondering what your thoughts are. The premise is the players work together to build community that will survive the apocalypse. Players contribute to drawing the map, developing resources and scarcities, and seeding conflicts. I'll include a link to the game if you want more information. Your friend from the Great White North, Joel.
Joel, thanks for the excellent letter and the excellent recommendation. I can also put my stamp of approval on the Quiet Year. I've played it with students before. It's definitely a game that works best when you're all sitting around a table and you all have a bunch of crayons, colored pencils, and things to draw. But it also works online if you have a digital shared whiteboard. And it's such a fun role-playing game in that, you know, your actions are drawing, and that is super cool. I will point out one downside of the Quiet Year is you're telling a very specific type of story. Now, the setting can be completely, you know, whatever you want it. You know, it could be set on an asteroid or in the distant past or in a cool fantasy land. Joel's description is perfectly accurate, right? People coming together after the apocalypse. So if you're world building a game in which that is the premise and setting, I can think of no better way to bring players into the world building process than the Quiet Year.
Yeah, we haven't talked about the Quiet Year, or at least we haven't devoted an episode to it, which is wild. I feel like we have talked about it in other ways before. I have played, or I've built a Quiet Year world. I think this is great. I liked what the Adventure Zone did with Ethersea. I thought that was a great way to start a campaign. I thought it was really neat. I liked that they were showcasing an indie RPG, something that was not like super well known to a lot of people. And I thought what they came up with was pretty cool. Matt and I have played and discussed Microscope, which is a different but similar world building game. And that was a ton of fun. I love that. I think this is a increasingly common opener to a campaign, and I think it's a really good one. If your players are the kind of people who want to do this, are interested in world building for themselves, but maybe don't want to homebrew an entire campaign or run an entire campaign themselves, I think it's great. If you can get them invested, everything that you said is absolutely correct. They will know more about the world, and they will want to play in and engage with it. I think that this could be like a sort of default idea for homebrew campaigns. You know, either Quiet Year or Microscope or one of any other collaborative world building games is a great way to start things out, especially if you are struggling to get players to engage with your own homebrew or whatever homebrew you have on hand.
Yeah. So Microscope is, I think, a little more flexible, but of course a very, you know, if you're playing a game that's community focused, right? There's this town, there's this place, there's this idea that you're all from. It works so great. Microscope is, you know, can tell the whole story of history up until this point. The advantage is you as the game master can kind of set that in card first, right? Because maybe you have a vague idea of when the campaign is starting, and then you can let players fill out the background. We could, I think, in the future, do a whole episode on techniques, both like using official published storytelling games to do collaborative campaign building, and then also just like doing more loosey-goosey stuff for starting campaigns. That would be a fun episode. We'd also talk about Ben Robbins's other games like Kingdom. There's some cool stuff out there.
We'll definitely put that on the docket for future episodes, because this is a very good idea. You know, the only, I guess, if there is a downside, is this just adds another session. So you've got to do this, and then you got to do session 0, or you got to do session 0 and then this, and then you can start playing, which is not a problem if you have a consistent group that is able to do that. I think Matt's going to tell me this could be part of session 0. I feel like it's probably going to be.
I think you're right.
I think it's probably going to be 2 separate sessions. Anyway, that's not really a problem. It means a little bit more prep before actually starting the game, which I think is okay. Could be an obstacle if you're struggling to meet consistently. But I still think that in an ideal world where you're running homebrew, especially in like a fantasy setting, you would get to do this every time, and your players would get to contribute to building the world. I think that would be great.
I think Joel actually brings up implicitly another excellent point, is that this is a perfect technique for your second campaign, right? If you're playing where you have the majority of your players are new to role playing, it's probably not the best way to start off. I'm not saying you couldn't do it. It's just, maybe for people who don't even know what a role playing game is and can be, it could be a little more challenging to see why this is important or interesting. But second campaign, that's the sweet spot.
Definitely a second or third campaign type of thing, but a good one for that.
Yeah, check out the Quiet Year. Thanks for the letter, Joel. Here's our next one from Parth regarding the Trader Baru Cormorant. I'm working my way through your most recent episodes, but I'm on episode 46, the Trader Baru Cormorant. And I don't know how to phrase this, but I'm Indian by descent and heritage. I grew up in Nigeria, studied in India, and now I work in San Jose. I've always been confused about who I am, what my identity is, but never more than after listening to this episode, all caps. So I'm blaming my current mental dilemma on you guys. I demand recompense in the form of a conversation, suggestions for reading. Matt, Dave, Rob, I really struggled with
come to the right place.
Yeah, we've got you. I really struggle with my relationship with the influences of colonial Britain through the lens of the history that was taught to me in school, which mentions all of the Jallianwala massacres and none of Gandhi's racism in South Africa, and with the visible remnants of the British Empire in both Nigeria and India. Please help. Or don't. Everyone is busy. And if you read this and you don't feel like it's your jam, I want you to know I do not expect a reply, so don't feel bad about it one bit. I just wanted to write a funny rant. But also, if you do think this is your jam, I'd be stoked to talk about my experiences and stories I've heard, and then you can help me find context about who I am, why I feel like a drop of oil in water wherever I go. Okay, stay safe and keep rolling them dice. Bye, Parth.
Parth, thank you so much for this letter. Sorry, it took us a bit to get to it. It's a great one, and I'm really delighted that you had that experience with the Trader Baru Cormorant, but because I think that's probably one of the we love it because I think it does a really good job of portraying the complex relationship that colonial subjects have with both their homelands and with the metropole, and it's not simple or easily resolved. Matt and I are both white men who live at the center of the imperial core. So we cannot specifically relate to this problem, and there's a lot of people who are better equipped to discuss it than we are. But there are definitely some things that I think that you would be interested in, some suggestions that we have for approaching this complicated topic.
This is a very complicated topic, and happy to engage in the conversation. Caveat, any of our answers are going to just be our very limited perspective.
Yeah.
But thank you for reaching out to us. Rob, where do you want to start? Do you want to start with role-playing games?
Yeah.
Books?
This is, like I said, this is really interesting. And there are a lot of new TTRPGs coming out from basically, different parts of the world, different origins. Like, I am very excited about Gubat Banwa, which is being designed and written and designed by, I think, an Indonesian team. I've been reading Zephyr, which is, I think, there are writers in, like, the Philippines and elsewhere. And there were big chunks of some of the better Wizards of the Coast's anthologies that were written by non-white creators that I think spoke very well to those complex colonial relationships, to those diasporic identities. I'm thinking specifically of a lot of the things in Candlekeep Mysteries and Journey Through the Radiant Citadel. Not all of them were great, but some of them were. Some of them were very interesting. Yeah. And I would look to some of the newer, weirder stuff coming out because I think that might be of interest to you. And I think a lot of those people are trying to work through their complicated feelings through TTRPGs, through games. I would recommend our dear friends at the Asians Represent podcast, Daniel and Steve. They talk about this all the time, and they have a lot of recommendations for this kind of thing.
First place to go for a podcast that is in large part specifically devoted to conversations like this one is the Asians Represent podcast. Gaming, fantasy, diaspora, identity. Go there. I would also say Jiangxi, Blood in the Banquet Hall. A very short, perfect for like a one-shot role-playing game. Again, not about the identities that are intersecting in your life, but creators who have, through the medium of role-playing game, tried to like untangle some of those ideas and feelings through the medium of creating a game. Maybe the answer, Parth, is that you need to write a TTRPG about some of these ideas. Maybe it's not, but so.
Yeah.
Don't get mad at me if you start writing one and
It might be, it might be your only way. This is not probably going to answer any of your questions or resolve anything, but I think you might think it's interesting. Check out Michael Moorcock's The Land Leviathan. It is part of his Constable Bastable series that begins with The Warlord of the Air. It takes place in an alternate early 20th century where the Russian Revolution has gigantic like war zeppelins, and in The Land Leviathan, a big chunk of it takes place in an independent South Africa, which is run by like Premier Gandhi. It's a very like, these are not the best like best written books, but it's a very like interesting alternate world series, and you might find it amusing given your background.
Yeah. I think we've been, and thank you again for this letter. We need to bring back reading novels and discussing this on the podcast. I think you have read this book, but I have only just started it. A Memory Called Empire by Arkady Martine deals with some similar themes. At least I think it does, based on the jacket and the first couple chapters. So maybe we should do a discussion episode of that novel.
Yeah, I love A Memory Called Empire, and I might even like the sequel, A Desolation Called Peace, better. It's a great duology, and Arkady Martine deals very closely with identity and colonialism and the relationship between empire and its extremities. It's a very political thriller. I love those books. When you finish, Matt, we'll talk about it. If you liked The Traitor Baru Cormorant, I actually just finished Exordia, which is another Seth Dickinson book that came out last year. It is extremely different. It is radically, wildly different, but deals with some similar themes, and I ended up enjoying it a whole lot. So check it out. But yeah, A Memory Called Empire, that's a great suggestion, Matt. I had forgotten about that. That was a really good one.
Yeah, maybe we should do an episode on that. And then, maybe the solution, not all the solutions to life's struggles lie in gaming, sadly.
So unfortunately.
Just kind of repeating some of the things you mentioned in your letter, that you mentioned that learning some history that was different than what you were taught in school was at once confusing, but perhaps empowering in the way that all knowledge empowers someone. So, maybe checking out some history books about British Empire, colonialism in Nigeria or India, or identity. Two that I have really enjoyed is Rachel Loudon's Cuisine and Empire, Cooking in World History, which is a very broad book, but has lots of really fascinating examples about cuisine between the metropole of the United Kingdom and the Indian subcontinent. And then I'd also recommend Empire of Guns, The Violent Making of the Industrial Revolution by Priya Satya. Guns.
I haven't read this one yet. It's been on my list forever. I've read really good reviews.
It's real good.
So I'm excited about it. I don't even know if I want to recommend this. A very accessible but grim book is... Are you going to
say Achebe?
Is I don't know, that's a good suggestion too. I was going to say Late Victorian Holocaust, and I'm blanking on the author, but
Mike
it's
Davis.
That's right, it's Mike Davis. Of course it is. It's obvious. Grim, but very accessible, and if you're looking to have some complex feelings about both the British Empire, but also like the modern world, it's a good book to read.
Yeah. No, you can never go wrong with any of Davis's books. Sea of Quartz, Monster at the Door, Buddha's Wagon, blanking on some of the others, but yeah. I can't remember the title, but he's got a really great one that will just make you depressed and angry. That's like his first more historical one on the reason why there's never been a like working class labor identity party in the United States, that these things kept getting subsumed to different third parties and parts of the Democratic Party. And, why don't we have a Labor Party, a Social Democratic Party in the United States? It's also a good one.
Parth, this was a really great letter. I really appreciate you writing it. I hope that you're not still so confused. I hope you're still listening, and I hope that if you are, this was interesting, because this is a really good question, and yeah, I hope that you have found some answers, or at least become familiar or comfortable with the complexity of it, which is kind of all we can hope for.
Thinking about the complexities of life is one of life's great joys and burdens. Good luck, Parth. It's prisoners of the American dream, politics, and economy in the history of the U.S. working class.
Thanks again, Parth. This next one comes from Christian. Christian actually wrote us right before we did it to ask if we would do an episode on gradient descent, which we did.
And we forgot to say thank you, Christian. So
thank
sorry.
you for writing about that, Christian. The second part, though, of Christian's question is also relevant, where Christian says, I have a more general question. You read a lot of RPG books, like a whole lot, pretty quickly. I consider myself a decent reader, but RPG material takes me an eternity to get through. Do you have advice for getting through them quickly, other than spending a career in academia reading as a profession?
Yeah.
I try to skip over filler and minutia, but that stuff seems to somehow become critical info later in the book, and I spend more time going back to figure out what I missed than I saved by skipping it. That's from Christian. Christian, this is a really good question, and not one...
Yeah, it is. It's a tough one.
And kind of one that I really wish that we had spoken to sooner, because, yeah, we do read a lot. We read a lot of these RPG books, and upon reflection, we go through them very quickly. And Matt, I think you and I probably have different strategies for this. It is worth acknowledging that Matt and I both have advanced degrees in history, which, if you didn't know, requires more reading than any other degree, including English. It is by page volume the one that requires you to look at the most pages. So that is
when you're done reading the books for your classes, you go and do your work, which is reading something that's usually even more boring.
Yeah, and
like these government documents.
These are very Matt's got better stories than this, but I read the 10 years of archives of newspapers from like 1705 to 1715. Jeez. And let me tell you what, there's not a lot going on there. There's just not a lot, not a lot to talk about.
Open your own local newspaper and look at the stories that are not the headlines, and you'll realize that they're often very, very boring. But that's some of the stuff that you need. I mean, reading government, over the last 2 years, I've read a lot of committee minutes for like appropriating funds and stuff, and I wanted to kill myself. So
the other thing I read a lot of was the minutes and reports of like the colonial administration, and just pages upon pages of just dull, droning, just nonsense.
But that's where it's found. That's where the stuff happens.
That is true. I did find some stuff in there, but you gotta dig through it. So all right, so the answer number one
anyway
is that Matt and I are uniquely qualified to read through boring, long documents. We have both experience and training in this. However, there are tricks and tips.
Let's start with baby steps. My first trick or tip is read shorter RPGs. Do not grab the newest thing from Free League that you're excited about that's 400 pages, hardcover, the size of a giant magazine. Grab an indie RPG that's 100 pages long, that's well reviewed. Read Brindlewood Bay from cover to cover. There are some role-playing games that are designed to be pleasant to read. There are not many.
Yes, and we talk about this. Every time that it comes up, I try to mention when a book was actually like a pleasure to read, which is very, very rare. And I played in a Burning Wheel campaign for years. I love Burning Wheel. It's a lot of fun. That RPG book is 500 pages long.
No.
I have read...
There's a reason we haven't done a Burning Wheel episode, is because I will not read the book. Rob's like, we should do one. I'm like, yeah, I'll get to reading it. I have not done it. I'm sorry, Rob.
No. I think I've read maybe a third of that book. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Like I read.
I'm glad you. I thought you. See, I had assumed you had finished it. I was feeling bad.
No, and that's a lot of pages. I read everything that was relevant and then some, and like there's still whole chunks. It's partially because I was trying to read it as I was playing to like figure out how the game worked, but maybe a half of the book. Anyway, the point is, don't try to go read Burning Wheel. Don't go read the biggest like Free League game. Like there's lots of short, well-written, interesting RPGs, and we review
You also
a lot of
save money. You know,
Yeah,
get one of
save
those $5-10 indie RPGs on itch.
Yeah, I mean, it was nice last week.
As long as itch still exists, it's not sued
I
away
think it
by
came back up,
Funko
yeah.
Pops. Okay, yeah, sorry. This is another stupid
Another
news story
weird
of
news
the
story.
week. Yeah.
Like last week, we reviewed Deep Cuts, a supplement for Blades in the Dark. Is 100 and something pages. I could read the whole thing. That was nice.
Yeah.
That was also just $10. So that's part of it. The other part is that me, Rob, I think Matt is a lot more honest than I am, but like I skim and I skip aggressively sometimes. And part of that is because I've gotten to the point where I know what I don't need to read, even if it's a new RPG. I've read so many that I can sense when a paragraph is wasting my time, and I'll skip it. Sometimes this bites me in the ass. Sometimes I do miss critical information. I have to go back and read it. But you really do have to be strategic about what you're reading. There's a lot of like tables and lists that I sometimes put aside for later. There's, supplementary rules that I kind of skip over. It depends on the game. It depends on whether or not I am enjoying reading it. It depends on how well written it is. The reason why I'm constantly like banging my drum about like layout and design is because I read so many RPGs. And so when one flows naturally and I feel like I am able to like make sense of it as I am reading it, that is very pleasant to me. Very few are written with that in mind. This is what we love about Mothership. Speaking of Mothership is both very economical in its writing and very coherent in how it's laid out. It's a very easy RPG to read for me.
If I'm not reviewing it for the show, watching a review or a summary that someone else has done before you've read it can help, because it puts everything in context. You like know what the game is about. So if you read a review before you start reading, then you're like, oh, okay, I'm just filling in the information. The downside is then whatever review you've read has clouded your sort of approach and judgment to the game. But if you're just looking to get through it, that's a good way. If it's a game that you want to like, find a positive review. Read that, then read the book. I think that speaks to like my broader reading strategy point when it comes to technical material. It's like learning a new skill or a new software or something like that. You're only going to learn it if you have something that you can do with it, or like apply it to. So the trick of like making a character or using the GM advice to like design a campaign as you read through, even if you're just like, none of this matters, I'm never going to use it, can be like a fun motivator for you.
This is exactly like learning a program or a new language. Having a project, having a reason to do it. The games I understand the best and that I have read the most thoroughly. Here's one. I have read the entire Cyberpunk Red rulebook, but it wasn't until I had been running it for several months that I had actually done that, because as much as I like that game, it is not my favorite rulebook in terms of like writing and layout, and it's actually kind of annoying. But because I needed to understand it, I ended up reading it pretty thoroughly. So don't tax yourself. If you're reading one for curiosity's sake, if it doesn't grab you and it doesn't immediately say, I want to run this game, you can just read it casually, skim it, and then come back to it later. But like, you don't need to try to like read every word to understand it if it doesn't feel like something you want to play. Jason
Morningstar's Noct Hexen Night Witches, very short. Friend of the show, Daniel Kwan's Ross Rifles, very short.
Yeah.
Very, very good to, these are some that I think that are fun to get through, really short. Start there. But yeah, giving yourself a purpose and then telling yourself, this is supposed to be fun. If you start watching Elementary on Hulu and you're like, actually, this sucks, just turn it off, right? Same with role-playing games.
Right.
If you find it's bad,
if
turn
it
it
sucks,
off.
hit the bricks.
Yep. But if you can give yourself a purpose, like think of that old Duolingo commercial where the farmhand learns Italian to impress a pretty lady, right? Think of creating a character or designing a campaign as that motivator to get through it and do something while you're reading. That's nice.
this is our hobby. I don't know. What do we call this podcast? Not our job, but
Our podcast.
For our podcast, we do this, and we have a lot of training, so that's how we're able to get through so many RPGs. But you do have to be strategic about it. We also we haven't been clear about this, but we are picking shorter ones on purpose.
Yeah.
Largely because, listen, these days the really long ones are not always the best, and I'm more interested in some of the newer, shorter, more economically written ones. So don't torture yourself with the big chunky ones. There's lots of ones that are good and fun to read that can help expand your TTRPG horizons without a massive investment in time.
Unless you're already committed to playing it, there's no reason to read the Hero System 6th edition from cover to cover, for example. Don't do it.
Don't do it.
All right. Good luck, and thanks for the letter, Christian. Our next letter comes from Callaway. Spelljammer, help. For our next campaign, we decided on running a Spelljammer game. I have the box set and have made the following decisions. 1. I'm going to homebrew heavily and steal from Light of Xerxes. 2. My players will get their own ship early on because that sounds fun. 3.
Correct.
The overarching theme will be the evil astral elf empire versus anyone willing to rebel, Star Wars style. The players can engage with this if they choose. If they don't, they can just explore the astral sea to their heart's content. What I need help with is creating interesting wild space systems and or other encounters for the group. I would love if you guys just rapid fired a few ideas for me to include. I have listened to your Spelljammer episodes and help. I feel confident in my ability to create. I just want to include something from you guys. One last thing. Rate this idea for a planet, a tidally locked planet where the night and day sides of the planet are governed by religious orders. Each order is dedicated to a deity of night or day relative to which side the planet they are on. The night side relies on the day side for food. Over time, this caused tensions to rise within the factions. The party can interact with both orders and attempt to unite them or pick a side, possibly winning over part or all of the planet to the rebellion. Thanks for all you do and keep rolling them dice. As always, Callaway.
First, Callaway, rating your planet idea, 2 thumbs up. I like it. I think it's cool.
Dark and light side, thumbs up. It's an original series Star Trek episode.
It is. I like it. I think it's great.
I'll only add who lives in the middle in the Twilight Zone.
So the Twilight
What
Zone.
are they
I like that? Like a no man's land. Matt, you got any ideas for this? Any special? I have some planets, but we love Spelljammer here. We love ourselves some Spelljammer.
Before I give my off the cuff, planet ideas, the places to steal from, if you go to, I think it's the Practical Planetology is the Spelljammer book from 2nd edition that has your guide to creating planets. Obviously, you don't need 80% of the book, but it has some fun tables and lists. I will also add in the tables for creating worlds from any of the editions. The newest one, the oldest one of Traveler are absolutely great for Spelljammer campaigns. You just add in a little fantasy twist. Worlds Without Number, another role-playing game system, also has great tables for creating stuff. Unfortunately, the Spelljammer books don't, which is why you need to go to those other places.
There are a lot of really good tables and systems for generating really cool planets. So go and find them and roll on those tables. Though we are happy to come up with some of our own. Matt, you got anything?
Okay,
I've got a few.
Sure. You can always go with the planet is the creature. It's one giant living world.
Nice.
It wants something, or it's in trouble. Pick one of your other random tables. It's threatened by the Empire. You got to actually discover a way to communicate with it, which was always fun.
I got one, and this is not unique. I think this is definitely one of these in one of the Star Wars books, and is this in Riddick? But it's a fun concept. There's a side of the planet that's super, super hot, and a dark side, and there's either a living creature or a big moving factory that crawls ahead of crawls around the planet to stay ahead of the super hot sun. That's always a fun one. That's you fall off, then you're starting to get roasted. It's great place for adventure.
Go weird and Ptolemaic and fantasy with it. You know, the world's on the back of a turtle. It's a big flat disc. The astral elves have poisoned the turtle with turtle poison, and you got to find a way to heal it.
I love that. Yeah, especially since this is Spelljammer. Get weird with it. Turtles on turtles. You know, you've heard of a forest world. You've heard of an ocean world. How about a mangrove world? How about a world where there's a forest on top of an ocean, where there's, you know, a whole society that lives above the ocean in the forests, and then, you know, a whole ocean beneath that. Mix it up, combine them together.
Play with scale, you know, tiny worlds where every creature is the size of a titan or a giant, and your players are out of scale with your world. It's super bad for sci-fi because things don't make sense, and if you're in my Star Trek campaign, for example, the people are like, actually the surface area to volume ratio on these creatures just doesn't make a lot of sense, Captain. What's the explanation? I'm like, but it's magic.
Gravity.
It's Spelljammer. This is the great thing about Spelljammer.
So
go with a crazy out of scale for your player's world.
Yeah, do also, like, again, because you don't have to, like, play by the rules of physics, get weird with, like, structures. You know, you've got ring worlds, whatever, but, like, how about a
world,
donut world, torus world, a world on the
square
inside
world
of a shell, a square, a diamond. Come up with some wacky shapes. You know, again, it's magic. It's Spelljammer. It should be kind of wacky. Have a big diamond world, or like
the world is a ever-flowing river around a sun. You know,
that's a good one. Ooh, a ring world that's literally like just a river that never ends. That'd be fun. That's cool.
Yeah, I think there's that in the Galarian
that sounds right.
setting. So you know, obviously, go to the Starfinder gazetteers. They have lots of wacky worlds. Strip out the tech, and then you've got some fun worlds to plop in as your characters roll up a new thing. And then I would also suggest organize your worlds. One of the fun things about Spelljammer is you can make a fun web map of where you can get in the Astral Sea, so that players can make meaningful decisions about where to go next, and they're seeing traders coming from, you know, one world to another.
I like that. Yeah, that is one of the great things about Spelljammer is the network, is the travel between them.
My last suggestion is not a world type; it could be applied to any type. But put a big bad monster type, or a type of monster that is normally considered a big bad, and change its alignment to whatever you want, in charge of that system. Hey, it's the Mind Flayer world, and actually these ones are really nice. They're not friends with the other Mind Flayers. Or, you know, it's the Beholder system. It could just be the Dragon system. Pick your favorite monsters that you love to play with. Vampires, you know, and it's their world. They're in charge. They took over. They won. They did the apocalypse that normal fantasy campaigns are about preventing, and now they rule the entire solar system.
I really liked Matt's suggestion at the beginning. Those are all really good resources for coming up with really cool planet types. So check out Traveler, check out Starfinder, check out Worlds Without Number. There's a bunch of great stuff there.
Thanks again for the letter, Callaway.
Good luck, Callaway.
Yeah. See you in space, cowboy.
This one comes from Jacob. Jacob writes, "Hi there, dearest favorite podcast. Any chance you'll make an episode on solo RPGs at some point? I found it to be a fantastic way to try out systems without having to get a group. It's also great fun in and of itself. I'm curious to get the insights of more experienced DMs and to see what you think. Thank you, Jacob."
During the winter freeze in Texas a couple years ago, I played through several games of 1,000-Year Vampire. I think I talked briefly about them on the show, but we should do a whole episode on solo RPGs.
The answer is yes. I've also played 1,000-Year Vampire. I think I also mentioned this. I played a really good one where you use tarot cards to sort of determine the next thing, called Animensis. It was really fun. It was a really great solo journaling RPG. So the answer is yes. I like these. I've been trying to do more just for fun, just to try things out. So this would be a great opportunity for me to dig out some old ones and try some new ones. So we will do a solo RPG podcast soon.
Yeah, I've been enjoying Captain's Log, which uses the same system as the Star Trek RPG. So, like, yeah, I've even generated the things that I'm like, well, obviously it'll be different when my group plays with it, but there were some ideas here that'll be an episode, a session for my players. That one's kind of unique in that it's the same mechanics, so everything can kind of translate over. We should do a whole. Okay, we are promising you a medley of our favorite solo RPGs.
Yes. So great question, and the answer is yes.
Thank you, Jacob. This is from John on Patreon. John writes, I have another idea for a podcast topic for you. Do you have any tips, tricks, suggestions for how you learn a new game? I know you have both a background in education, so I'd love to hear your take on how to teach and learn game systems. You've introduced me to a number of games that I'm dying to try out. Vaesen, the Alien RPG, the Cozy Murder, she wrote Granny Investigation one, whose name I can never remember.
That's Brittlewood Bay.
And I'd love to get some help dislodging the years of built-up D&D rules in my brain. I swear 3.5 is the final boss of my gamer memory. Every time I try and remember a game rule, I can usually call up what it used to be, but not as often what the rule currently is. John,
I don't. This was one on one of our recent episodes, like in the last couple months, but I think I said the exact same thing. I think my brain is still rooted in 3.5, and if I'm not careful, I still struggle. I still call everything a perception check. I still forget how death saves work. I fall back on these things, and Matt and I discussed this. So the first answer to your question is about like learning and teaching new games is to the best way is unfortunately to depart as far from possible from Dungeons and Dragons 3.5. Is like the less
I agree.
The less a game resembles, not just like in like theme, not just like it can still be a fantasy game, but like in format and play style, the less I struggle to keep the rules straight. This is me personally. Like I'm just like you. My brain is sort of like locked in 2002 in some ways, and I have to really like be conscious about certain rules, especially for 5e. And I don't struggle when I'm running Blades in the Dark or Cyberpunk quite as much because they are radically different systems.
Yeah, I would agree. This is only a problem for me when I've been running 4th edition or 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons that 3rd edition pops into my brain because it occupies the same shriveled and disgusting wrinkle and lobe in my brain that should be trepanned away. But yeah, getting far away is one piece of advice. Another is that I have found is useful is I have all of my players in my D&D game, but one have never played 3rd edition, and so I follow their lead. Sometimes
That's smart.
I'm like, yeah,
That's smart,
actually, yeah, okay, and yep, that is, of course, it is not called a diplomacy check. It's a persuade. I'm like, what skill do you want to make? Persuasion. Oh yeah, okay. This is a persuasion check. It's definitely not a diplomacy check.
Something that's helped me personally is I make notes of the things that I keep getting wrong, and I make like a personal cheat sheet of things that I stumble over. Like, my Cyberpunk cheat sheet isn't like, if you like the game has like a quick reference, but like the stuff that's on the quick reference isn't necessarily what I need. So I've made like a separate quick reference for me for most of the other systems that I run to remind me of the things where like I like keep like running into problems. You'll learn this by doing, but this is how I process information. It helps me to write things out and to have that in front of me. There may be a better way for you to do this, but that has helped me, especially in games where I keep making the same like mix-ups, is just have something like that around.
Yeah. I guess going back to our earlier point, just playing games that are different. I think helps free your mind, because I think at least from what information you've put in your letter, I'm getting the impression that currently you're only running 5e and you want to run these other systems. So just like doing a couple one shots with your current group, again, no investments, just one session, will help you free your game master mind from just the train of 3.5 bleeding in to 5e. So do a one shot of something that's very different, and then when you come back to 5e, because I'm guessing your players, they want to keep playing this campaign, it'll just remind you that there's so many different ways of doing things that the 3.5 5e distinctions are less important.
Yeah, just know that you're not alone, and that it's not easy. And good luck.
Yeah, good luck. And again, a lot of the time, no one will notice when you call them attacks of opportunity instead of opportunity attacks, or whatever. I'm trying to think of what are the smallest distinctions between these two systems. Proficient, your base attack bonus. I mean, your proficiency bonus. Again, it's all the same. It hasn't changed that.
It's all the same.
It's so. All right, thanks, John.
To wrap us up,
we
have one final communique, which is not a question, but
from
is
one of our most important listeners of all.
Is in fact a press release from a company called Infinity Fiction, or infinityfiction.ai or Infinity AI.
We get a lot of press releases, and while we do read our listeners' letters, we usually do not read these or requests to join podcast networks or other things. But yes,
we've been getting a surprising amount of these, which is, I suppose, kind of gratifying. I mean, that's great. Somebody thinks that we matter enough, but also we don't read any of these things. But I read this one because I couldn't help myself. So this one is from, like I said, from Teddy and the Infinity Fiction team.
Hey, Teddy.
I'll get to Teddy in a minute.
Thanks for listening to the show.
I did some investigation, and here's what we got. Dear editor, that's us. Thanks, Teddy.
Thanks.
I hope this message finds you well. We are excited to announce the launch of. We're okay. We're excited to announce the launch of Infinity Fiction, a groundbreaking new platform that blends human storytelling with advanced AI, and we believe your audience will find it fascinating.
See, when you say blends human with AI, like my mind goes to blenders, like slicing up, Borg style.
It makes me think of like a Tetsuo, like horrific man machine abomination is like what I think of. Our game reveal. Today we're excited to reveal Tidefall, our flagship game coming soon in 2025. Tidefall is a fantasy adventure that showcases the power of our technology, the Infinity AI engine. Now,
they built an engine. Okay, I've
what's
read
funny
the
about
Year
this
Zero engine. Yeah,
is that all of those like isometric RPGs like Baldur's Gate and Icewind Dale were made in the Infinity engine. So they're already kind of
a lot
like
of research.
treading on copyright infringement already, but that's fine. It's the Trinity AI engine or the Infinity AI engine, whatever. Think of it as a world-class D&D adventure written by the best, but the AI is your Dungeon Master.
Oh, the AI as Dungeon Master. I didn't think anyone had thought of this.
No one's ever thought of this before. Guiding you and your friends through this text-based epic world, meeting thousands of NPCs and visiting hundreds of unique locations.
So the AI can only generate 9,999 NPCs. After that, the world
will collapse. Yeah. Blah blah blah. There's a bunch of other stuff. However, they want us to know that they're different from other Gen AI story builders. Interconnecting motivations, interactions are dynamic. Blah blah blah. They're advertising.
Rob, is there an opportunity for monetization for authors?
Well, yes, Matt.
Like
I was just going to say monetization for authors. Infinity Fiction enables writers, IP owners, and dungeon masters to create and monetize their own game worlds with advanced AI tools. communities, accessibility, interactivity, blah, blah,
So,
blah.
wow, this is so much cooler than just creating some AI slop and slapping it on a website, which dozens and dozens of creators already do.
I read this, and so, of course, I went to infinityfiction.ai. You can go. You too
I joined
can
the
go
Discord. Yeah.
to Infinity Fiction.
There's only about 50 people in the Discord. It's a little
I
sad.
also went to the Discord. I went to infinityfiction.ai. I'll tell you what, it does look like all of the art is AI slop, but it's high quality AI slop. I have to admit that that didn't look as bad as they did a good job of either curating or maybe they even hired some artists to fix it. I don't know. It doesn't look quite as bizarre and bad.
Yeah, there's less bizarre things though, the feel of the world, all AI generated stuff just doesn't make sense.
Well,
There's people with big Anglo-Saxon Norman style kite shields, and then there's people dressed in what looks like late 19th century military uniforms. I can't get the feel of what you're going
it's
for
very
here. Obviously they don't care.
D&D Warhammer-esque. It's meant to be. It's a slop pastiche of those. Speak of exactly what you said, Matt. Listen to this.
Oh, yeah.
Listen to this flavor quote from the Tidefall world. All of the world's finest steel swords cannot compare to a single Elden blade, tempered in the forges of Ironhold. Fires first kindled in ages long before my ancestors. Keldrick, Breldon, master of the furnace.
So I'm looking at the art of Ironhold, the great dwarven city. And Rob, does this not look exactly like a shitty AI version of Iron Forge, the main place where you do an auction house in World of Warcraft in 2006 or whatever?
Yes.
This
yes,
is so lazy.
It does look just like Iron Forge. And Keldrick Breldon, I'm just it sounds like you mashed together a bunch of human paladin names. There's nothing explicitly bad about it, but it is sort of, it's not just generic. It's sort of aggressively generic. You've got King Alaron.
Here's
Lysandra Vane, Victor Drail, with just generic
Drax,
AI
the Destroyer
portraits. Yeah.
So here's one. It's that they put so little effort into. You'd think you would put your best non-AI stuff on the splash page, but one of the NPCs that's part of the campaign setting is Darion Quince, which Darion is the ruler of Sarnath. And he's described as a impressive tactician, progressive builder, and advocate for rapid development. And the art of this guy, he looks like a witch hunter, a swashbuckler. He doesn't look like a king or a ruler. He looks like a weird cutthroat piece of shit. And why is this king not wearing anything nice? And if he's not, maybe that's interesting. The king who dresses like a commoner, like Omar Bradley, the private general in World War. But yeah, you would have to describe that. And obviously, they just took one of the random AI portraits and paired it with a bunch of AI text.
Here are some of the locations you can explore in Tidefall. Mm-hmm. The Crystal Caves. The aforementioned
Caves.
Ironhold, Castle Tidefall, Twin Peak Monastery, Sarnath City.
I think there's a restaurant on the highway called
Thornbrook, Ebstone Mines, Eldor Woods. I mean, somebody just fed a...
Oh, my favorite one, Rob, is the town of Riverton, right? And so I don't think anyone's smart enough here to know that when a place is called Riverton, right, with T-O-N, right, this is an evolution of someone calling it Rivertown. And so when you put the town of Rivertown, you sound like a fucking idiot.
Well, it's the kind of thing a Gen AI might produce if you were give me 100 location names for a fantasy world. And one of them would be the town of Riverton.
I love that, again, every year someone is going to try and do this for the rest of our lives.
Forever.
And forever. I now truly believe that it will never work.
So,
and also, of course, why would you? Why would you take the fun part about being a role-play gamer away and let something stupid algorithm do it for you?
Longtime listeners, real DM of Nunheads, will remember The Glimmering, which was a NFT marketplace with the exact same premise as this, except it was like less AI generated, but you could play in a shared world. I'm pretty sure, actually, they have a Play Now button, but I'm pretty sure that Gripner, The Glimmering, has not actually like launched in earnest, or in reality. So, and that we talked about that like 2 years ago. So we'll keep an eye on it.
They no longer have Twitter or Instagram pages, so I'm guessing it's dead
or
unable
dying.
to accept invite to their Discord. It seems like they're done.
That being
Goodbye.
said, so we'll see what happens with Infinity Fiction. But I looked into this company. I did not find anything super interesting. The only people attached to it are Alex Chamorro and Teddy Pisker, both of whom are located in the United Kingdom. Teddy Pisker is a Twitch partner who is best known for streaming about the New Age, New World MMORPG. That is his claim to fame, and as far as I know, his only professional work. Alex Chamorro.
There was a episode of Secret Level about
New
World. It is not good, but it's amusing in that they pay. It's like you can tell that Amazon put the most money into this one because it's about their product. Like they paid Arnold Schwarzenegger to be the voice actor.
I have extremely strong feelings about New World, and this is not that kind of podcast, so I'll leave them aside. But it truly like drives me insane that this game exists. Anyway, that's not really Teddy's fault, but
it's still out there. People, I guess, are still playing it. Maybe.
Teddy is the guy who emailed us, their community outreach lead. Alex Chamorro is some kind of like finance guy. They both worked adjacent to a facial recognition, fingerprint scanning tech firm in the UK. I don't know. Anyway.
Don't like that.
We popped into their Discord where we discovered that they had shared an example of play by the Infinity AI engine. So
do you want me to be the
Matt,
person, or
Matt,
do you want
me
me
the
to
person, and I will be the
Okay.
I guess I am Infinity Fiction in this. I'm the responsive AI narrator.
Okay, human. Walk inside.
You push open the door to the golden pick, and the warm amber light and the smell of ale and roasted meat greet you. The tavern is bustling with activity. Patrons sit at wooden tables engaged in lively conversation, and a few are playing dice games. The bar stretches along one wall, and behind it a stout woman with a green and brown apron is serving drinks. She has a stern look on her face, but seems to be well liked by the patrons. The air is thick with the sound of laughter and the occasional clatter of a mug. A fire crackles in the hearth, casting a warm glow over the room. A few adventurers and travelers are gathered in a corner, sharing stories and maps. What would you like to do next, Grawl the Mountain?
Oh, I'm glad I have a name. Go up to the bar and ask for a drink.
You make your way to the bar, your heavy boots thudding on the wooden floor. The woman behind the bar notices you and gives you a nod as you approach. Welcome to the Golden Pick, she says, her voice firm but friendly. What can I get for you, stranger?
Jesus Christ.
Sorry, I'm not sorry. This bar, I forgot.
Yeah.
The bar is well stocked with various ales, wines, and spirits. The woman has a no-nonsense air about her, and her eyes are sharp, taking in every detail. What would you like to drink, Grawl the Mountain? And that's the.
I don't even know what to say to this no-nonsense but warm, beautiful barmaid.
So listen, that is serviceable and technically coherent writing.
Hey, congratulations! You've made something that's worse than like. Zork or what? I don't know. What are the old text-based adventure games?
Matt, that is exactly what I was going to say. This is just Zork, except
bad,
but
boring.
Here's the thing. Okay, yes, a human being had to write Zork, but because a human being wrote it, it's better than this. And okay, the whole value prop, I guess, is like somehow this will someday
Zork
get better.
did it on 16 kilobytes of RAM, and this this burned like,
half
2
a
tons
hectare of
coal.
rainforest.
Yeah.
You could run Zork on your microwave. Like you need, 10,000 linked servers to run this shit.
I'm also wondering, Rob, so one of the things that's like inherent, because I'm assuming, Rob, and I don't know, I don't think they designed their own large language model for themselves.
I don't think so.
They're just
Certainly
one
not.
of many grifters that they get a license from ChatGPT or one of the other ones.
This is
and
an
then they
API
plug
call,
in
yeah.
their own API. And, one of the things that's inherent to those is you can often tell them no, and that's wrong. And I wonder if that works here. Like if Grawl the Mountain says, actually, this bartender, you got it wrong. This bartender is a dragon. Does that work? And does that actually make it any more fun or not when you're constantly like, no, this isn't a bar. We're actually drifting through space and I'm running out of oxygen.
Here's the thing. I don't find messing with or ChatGPT entertaining at all. And I don't really bother. It's just, somebody else can mess with it. When this goes live, I will absolutely be playing this and I will be breaking it as quickly and efficiently as I possibly can. Because they have shared a very tiny piece here, right? I can already see some areas where I'm like, well, what if you said something different? Or, what happens next? I'm very skeptical about like how well this, here's a guess that I have, Matt, is that absent exactly what you said, the player being like, no, we're somewhere else instead, you will stay in the bar forever. The program will not be like, here's an adventure.
It won't give you the nudge, someone finally comes in and an exciting thing happens.
You will just keep getting more descriptions of patrons and ale and bartenders forever, infinitely.
The infinite bar at the end of the world. I kind of like that, honestly. That actually, if a human made the game, the infinite bar at the Infinite Tavern at the end of the world, and then just you
can never leave.
I think there's actually already a actual play or a improv show about Tales from the Rude Tavern or something like that. It's kind of funny. I listened to it a long time ago. Okay. So I think we're on board with Tidefall from True Force AI and Teddy Infinity Fiction. Please send us a hardcover. I don't read things on my computer, so send me a hardcover of Infinity Fiction. But no, seriously, send it to us, and we will play it, and we will hate it.
I hope you enjoyed this.
When you were talking about this, Rob, I thought you were talking about like Infinity, the like miniatures game. And I was really excited that you had gotten into this. And I was like, oh my God, does Rob know there's also like a role-playing game based on the miniature skirmish game, Infinity? It's like kind of cyberpunk, post-human. You would really like this. And then I like scrolled down and I was like, oh.
I am both sorry and not sorry to disappoint you, Matt.
It's okay.
Thanks for listening, everybody. We had fun with this whole episode. As always, please do write us at dmofnone@gmail.com with your letters or questions. You can hit us up on the Discord. You can hop into our Patreon and leave them for us there.
Yes, we appreciate your letters. Keep sending them in.
And whatever you do, keep rolling them dice.
Come on, Sacro Lake, my battery. My human.